This is a dictation given by beloved Lord Lanto from the Bridge to Freedom material, The Story of Creation. In this discourse, I shall endeavour to give to you a brief outline of the story of creation, which will also furnish you with a contemplation that you may review in your private hours. This word picture will show you the tremendous love, the thought, and the service of cosmic beings, angels, devas, and the masters of energy through the millions and millions of years which have brought you to this point upon life's path, which represents the investment of such energies as the human mind could not conceive. Think you, beloved children of light, the first blooms in the garden of the great golden age of tomorrow, that such investment, such love, such care, such sacrifice would have been made were you not to fulfill a destiny beyond every power of your reason to imagine? Think you that the Lord of the world, the beloved Sanat Kumara, would have remained in the atmosphere of this planet for millions and millions of years, were it not that every one of your precious heartbeats, every one of your souls, was worth that exile? Think you that the great Archangel Michael, Prince of the heavenly host, would remain in the astral and psychic realm 22 hours out of every 24, cutting from the auras of disembodied mankind the constant creation of discordant thought, feeling, and action? Were not the souls of men so precious that even freedom in the heart of the sun could not dissuade him from such constancy? Ah, beloved ones, the investment of love in your blessed selves, in your newfound service, you often feel the ingratitude and indifference of mankind, and sometimes you weary of well-doing. So often as we stand in your atmosphere do we sense that discouragement. Then will you please remember those of us who have spent millions of years in such service, millions of years in loving and blessing and putting our faith and confidence in you. Realizing this, you will enjoy giving back a balance to life by having the same confidence, patience, and faith in your fellow man. Beloved children, the conscious projection of consciousness is the training which the beloved Saint Germain has asked those of us who are interested in his cause to bring to you, who are sufficiently spiritually developed. The successful accomplishment of this requires several things. First, the concentration of your own mind upon the picture we draw. Secondly, the self-conscious raising of your feelings in order to vitalize that picture and make it your own. Thirdly, the absorption of the lesson which is given through music and the spoken word. Fourth, the incorporation of your own physical energies which magnetize the portion of the law given through your etheric and flesh bodies. I trust that my word picture will be a pleasurable experience and that I shall not weary you. I shall endeavour to keep it as simple, as brief, and yet as beautiful as possible. When I have finished, if you can say within your heart, I am grateful for life, then I shall feel that my service is well done. In the beginning, the beloved Helios investor, godfather and godmother of this system, decided to apply to the source of all creation for opportunity to create a system of planets and people them with individual consciousnesses. These great ones were then required by cosmic law to prove that they could sustain a radiation of energy sufficient to maintain life, motion, and light upon a planetary system. They passed this initiation successfully and were then vested by the great central sun with the authority and power to create a universe. Let us picturize in our minds the coronation of the beloved Helios investor by the deity before the planetary system was begun. Then we find them, like any loving parents, designing conversationally, with thought and feeling, the size of their planets, their location, and the number of life streams that would abide upon each one. Just as wise home builders would plan to build a house, we find these great beings drawing the light pattern of their proposed universe into their worlds through their thought and feeling centers. When the design was completed to their satisfaction, a mighty, majestic being was summoned, who became the great cosmic silent watcher of this new universe. Into her consciousness was placed the design of all the planets that were to belong to the system. She absorbed the plan and accepted the responsibility of holding the immaculate concept for each planet until such time as Helios and Vesta would designate the cosmic moment when that particular planet was to be externalized. In due time came the hour when the planet Earth was to come into form. A great being called the Planetary Silent Watcher was then summoned, who received into her keeping from the Cosmic Silent Watcher the plan for the new planet, accepting in turn the responsibility of holding the immaculate concept for the Earth until the divine plan was fulfilled to the last detail. For a moment now, I will ask you to give your recognition and love to both of these great beings. Will you try to realize that the accuracy, the patience, and the fidelity of these silent watchers are responsible for the perfection of the pattern upon which the universe, as well as the individual planets, is built? If those beings had, even for one instant, relinquished that immaculate concept, the universe would have been distorted in form, and the planets might not even have coalesced. At last, the cosmic moment for the birth of the planet Earth had arrived. The silent watcher for our Earth, beloved Immaculata, stood in readiness, and the seven mighty Elohim, cosmic builders of form, were summoned. They answered the call, and standing around the planetary silent watcher, studied intently the plan for the sweet Earth, which was their joy, service, and opportunity to bring into form. Their first activity in this direction was the projection of mighty light rays from their combined consciousnesses, which formed the matrix of the new planet. When this was done, they summoned the lesser builders of form, the angel devas, and the elemental spirits. These beings magnetized the electronic light substance, filling in and fashioning the planet according to the instructions given them by the Elohim. As builders returned to the blueprint of the architect, so did the Elohim return again and again to the study of the light pattern held in the consciousness of the silent watcher. The Elohim invoked the directors of the great forces of nature, the majestic Virgo, mighty Neptune, and beloved Aries, joyously answered the summons, grateful for the opportunity of contributing the gift of their respective elements to the comfort and well-being of the newly born earth and its future inhabitants. After this came the invocation to the spirit of spring, beloved Amaryllis, to come and set up the rhythm of the spring in blossom, flower, and beauty of nature. This beautiful goddess came in answer to the call, bringing with her legions of angelic and elemental helpers. Their combined energies clothed the sweet earth in such beauty and gladness that she looked like a beautiful dryad, wearing a wreath of flowers upon her head, waiting to welcome the spirits who were to make her their home. Now, as you give your love and praise to the beloved Amaryllis, will you feel her essence flowing through the elementals into the once shining planet, now so despoiled, the planet which we ask you to restore. 900 consecutive rhythms of springtime came and went to make earth more and more beautiful. See the lakes, the great rivers, see the giant waterfalls and the crystal seas, see the mountains pouring their fingers upward toward God. Feel the immortal threefold flame of God pulsating from within the earth's center, the great eternal sun of even pressure. Think ye not, then, that the mankind about to receive this planet as their dwelling place was destined for some great purpose? See the elementals weaving the smallest and daintiest of flowers, the great devas unfolding the leaves on the trees. See the great spirits of the air active and working in their own element. See all nature working together harmoniously to the rhythmic music of creation. While all this activity is going on, while the great Elohim and the lesser builders of form, the angel devas and the members of the elemental kingdom are creating and beautifying the planet, Helios and Vesta, our godparents, are drawing from the great central sun the spirit sparks who are to be the beneficiaries of all this preparation and love. These will rest within the bosom of Vesta until the godparents are ready for the projection of the electronic bodies which will be the garments of these spirits. See now the beloved Helios and Vesta as they prepare, in cooperation with the seven Elohim, to fashion out of electronic light substance those beautiful shining bodies which you call the electronic presences, the mighty I Am. These were created in the form and design of the God-parents, the mighty light rays from within their twin hearts converging and forming individual foci of the immortal threefold flame of God, which will be a magnet for the universal light substance. When this is accomplished, the spirit spark is transferred from the heart of Vesta into the flame within the heart of the shining body prepared for it. Thus, each being becomes conscious of his own individual identity, and through the magic words, I am, finds himself a living, breathing intelligence, vested with life, opportunity, and free will, the pathway through the entire universe lying open before him, to make of it what he shall choose. Beloved ones, I should like you to feel that creation as it took place. Feel the holy innocence born out of the bosom of the eternal, primal life and self-conscious intelligence, not yet misqualified, secure in itself, enjoying the happiness and warmth of the aura of God. They clustered like small children around the skirts of their mother, seeking nothing beyond the privilege of joining in the praise and adoration of the angels. Then came the day when those ego spirits were touched by the spirit of adventure. They saw all of the 7 spheres stretched out before them, 7 magnificent realms to which they might have access if they chose to explore it. Under the direction of their Manu, they then start on their long journey through the 7 inner spheres for their expansion of their consciousness. See you now, beloved ones, these innocent spirits, as they began to slowly wend their way outward from the heart of God into the first realm of light. Here they enjoy the beauty and the perfection of the ideas that permeate its atmosphere. Some egos elect to remain in this sphere, while others pass on to the second realm, where these ideas are molded into definite thought forms. Some spirits remain behind in this sphere also, while others pass on into the third realm. In the third realm, they are made acquainted with the principles of universal brotherhood, which include the qualms of tolerance, forbearance, and understanding. In this sphere, they come to a realization that opportunity of service to life lies before them, and as before, some decide to remain there, while others pass on to the next sphere. In this fourth realm, their attention is drawn to the exquisite perfection of its architecture, the beauty of its paintings and its sculpture, and the artistic compositions of music, prose, and verse. Some spirits also remain there, others passing on to the fifth realm, the sphere of consecration. In this sphere, a few discover within themselves a vocation. Some remain here, while others pass on to the sixth realm. Here they find that reverence, devotion, and worship are the activities engaging the attention of the brotherhood in the temples. Some spirits remain in this sphere, the rest passing on to the seventh great realm, which is devoted to ordered service and ceremonial worship. Here they hear the mighty Chohan in charge of this realm say, "Hitherto the Father worketh, but now the Father and you shall work." The spirits who have passed through the 7 spheres have drawn into their causal bodies the 7 great bands of colors. These are the egos who have qualified for initial embodiment on the planet Earth. Many, many spirits never leave the bosom of the eternal Mother, Father, God. Many remain in each of the 7 spheres. Only the stalwart, the bold, and the strong pass through the entire 7 spheres and stand finally in that 7th sphere, saying triumphantly within themselves, "It is a joy and opportunity to serve." If you will now join in that feeling of opportunity to call, you will again feel the radiation which you felt when you first determined within yourself to offer your services as you sojourned in the third realm, where the opportunity first presented itself. How many among you still carry that enthusiasm? Yet, dear ones, opportunity to serve is magnificent. Now, beloved ones, as your consciousnesses have looked back upon the earth while she was yet in the process of preparation, you have looked upon the new and innocent egos as they pass through the 7 spheres, as they journey, evolving the 7 bands of color in their causal bodies. The sphere that has the greatest attraction for the individual ego, and the one in which it chooses to remain for the longest period of time, become the strongest radiation in the life stream, as well as the one which produced the most prominent band of color in the causal body. Thus, it was that each ego became, through choice, a member of one of the 7 rays. It was a purely voluntary dedication of its life. No one issued the edict, you are a first ray man, or you are a second or third ray man. Each ego chooses according to the promptings of his own God flame, and this voluntary choice determined under which ray it would eventually develop. In the meantime, the Elohim had completed the creation of the planet by focusing upon it a beautiful fire lotus composed of their 7 joint rays, which, like a brilliant jewel adorning the hair of beloved Virgo, was a signal to Helios and Vesta and the cosmic law that the earth was now ready for habitation. At the same instant, the Manu drew before him all the souls who had passed through the 7 spheres and chose a number according to the momentums of energy represented by the band of color in the causal bodies. He selected 1 out of 3 for incarnation, allowing the others to remain and wait for future opportunity. The egos, in whose causal bodies the blue color predominated, proving they were members of the first ray, were the first ones chosen for embodiment. Thus, the first root race was established upon the planet Earth. The call went forth to the other stars and planets in our system for volunteer helpers who would act as guardian spirits to the innocents who were to enjoy evolution upon the Earth. Guardian spirits are life streams of more mature consciousness who have successfully passed through a similar process of spiritual evolution on other stars and planets, and sometimes even in other systems. They came from Venus and from various suns of this galaxy, beautiful beings who joined the Manu saying, "Yes, we will go with you because of certain momentums we possess which may assist in this new race." All was now in readiness. The call for the descent went forth from beloved Helios and Vesta. The great 7th sphere opened and the descent of the innocents began in orderly procession. The beloved Archangel Michael, wearing a resplendent crown upon his head and carrying the royal blue banner of his ray, on which was emblazoned in letters of gold, "I am the will of God," led the magnificent cortege, accompanied by the legions of his court, who were to guard the newcomers. He was followed by the Lord Manu and the assisting beings who had assumed the responsibility of assisting in the spiritual development of the new ego spirits. Next came those for whom all this loving preparation had been made, the holy innocents themselves, clad in their beautiful, shining, etheric bodies. When every foot in that vast assemblage had touched the earth, all knelt around the great banner, and Lord Michael voiced the invocation to the eternal God of light that his will might ever be done on earth, as it was in the heavenly kingdom. He then made a solemn vow before all life that he would never leave the atmosphere of earth until every life stream, not only in that first group, but all those who were to come in the future, had completed their mission and returned in dignity to their Father's home. Every knee was bent, every head was bowed in gratitude, and every heart was filled with praise, love, and desire to be. After the consecration of the innocents, the group was divided into sections, some members going north, some south, some east, and some west. Thus began the first golden age on this planet. As they journeyed, the guardian spirits sang the song of the flame bearers to keep the ego spirits reminded of the immortal flame that each one carries in his breast, as well as the mission he had come to earth to accomplish. Thus, beloved ones, began a great pilgrimage which has continued to this present day. Thus walked out of the heart of heaven sons and daughters of the Most High Living God, many of whom are now imprisoned in forms that are far, far less than the perfection that they should express. Think not, then, that all this priceless energy and life, invested in you and others, was for some great destiny. Then can you not be grateful to the God Prince who created you, the guardian spirits and the angelic host who have protected you, the elementals that have sustained your body's life, not to mention those of the Great White Brotherhood, who have remained voluntary exiles from the glories of nirvana, that you may find the pathway back home. From the heart of the Royal Teton we are authorized to send forth the missionaries, the firebrands, the spiritual incendiaries, to make the soul light of mankind again blaze with the enthusiasm, the purity, and the harmony which it had in the beginning. from among the student body, if we find a few so willing to dedicate themselves to this cause, our service shall not have been in vain. Thank you, beloved ones, for your extreme patience, for your beautiful concentration, and for your divine love. The day when you can, self-consciously and at will, blaze the light through your flesh form and illumine the atmosphere around you, that day will you realize that all of the discipline and all of the many so-called unpleasant but necessary experiences of life have been worth it. Until then, feel free to summon me as you choose, and always remember that I am the servant of your light and I am your friend. And I thank you.